Hey. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Lonely Friday Night. Welcome to the loneliest show in late night, the loneliest show on the internet. Welcome to Sam Roberts. Now, hope everybody's doing great. Hope everybody's feeling extremely lonely. Not a lot of people around them. That's the way we want to be. That's the only way to be. That's what we celebrate each and every Friday night. Alonzo Smith is already saying it. Swollen balls. Come on, man. That's what we're talking about in these United States. We've got a lot to break down tonight. A lot to get to. Of course, you know the rules by now. I would hope that you're already warming up those fingers, smashing the like button, hitting subscribe, doing everything that you're supposed to do on these YouTube videos. You know by now the only rule here is that every super chat gets read on Sam Roberts Now. And when we've got so much to unpack tonight, I couldn't possibly do it alone. However, he is, as a change, unlike a couple of weeks ago, alone this week. Hot Dog is back. Welcome back, Hot Dog.
Good to be back. Missed you last week, buddy.
Well, you were replaced last week by AJ Galante, and I think that you can accept that.
Yeah, I get it. It's a good story.
I mean, he's an icon, for God's sake. Did you hear that?
You got to come back to the good stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't have Drake FaceTiming me, unfortunately. So, you know, I got Hot Dog FaceTiming me. That's where I'm at right now. But I chose the lonely life. Didn't choose me. I chose the lonely life. So what am I going to do? Complain about it? No, absolutely not. I was trying to get myself really revved up. Really excited. I see Mike Palkey says his fingers are hurting from smashing the like button so hard. That's what I like to hear. I want people with broken knuckles. I want arthritis to form. I want people to...
the skin to start peeling off.
Yeah, calluses, calloused fingers. I want the hands of a working man. And people go, what do you work, construction? And you go, no, I just smash the like button so frequently. I want 20, 30 years from now, you to go to a doctor. And you're like, doctor, I don't understand. I have arthritis in my fingers. I don't know how I would have gotten this. It couldn't be genetics. Nobody in my family has arthritis. And the doctor will look at his pad and he'll go, well, this may seem far-fetched, but was there a like button that at any point in your life you were smashing with regularity? And you go, actually, there was every Lonely Friday. And he'd go, yeah, no, I was there too. I remember. And that's exactly what gave you the arthritis. But it was worth it, wasn't it? And you'd go, yup. Yes, it was.
We want lawsuits coming our way in 20 years. If you were liking this, if you were smashing that like, you may be compensated.
Yeah. I want whoever is Celino and Barnes, whoever's representing Celino and Barnes by then, I want a class action Sam Roberts Now thing where they're like, oh, he's encouraging all these people to smash the like button so hard. It was very unhealthy. I can't wait. I can't wait to see what the future holds because the president is so exciting. I was trying to make myself excited this morning because I was up, early-ish, whatever. And I was like, oh, today's the day. Today's the day you can pre-order the new iPhone 13 and the iPhone 13 Pro Max. And I say it like that as if it's two separate phones because I watched the Apple event. And they did. They had one section where it was like, let's tell you all about the iPhone 13. And I was like, 2 cameras. And they were like, now that we've done that, let's tell you about the iPhone 13 Pro. And I was like, oh, it's 2 different. You're pretending it's 2 different products now? I thought it was just like, remember when they would put the phone out and when they first made big phones again? And they were like, this is like that phone, but it's bigger. And you'd be like, okay, that's enough. Like, I'll pay for that. I see the value. Now it's like, you've heard of the iPhone, right? You're like, yeah, no, I've heard of it. I have one. They're like, do you have an iPhone Pro? What's that?
Huh?
iPhone what? iPhone Pro. And you're like, no, I'm not a professional. I'm just a consumer. And they're like, oh, well, maybe this isn't for you because this one's really just for professionals. Well,
this is like really dope shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ready for this.
You know what? You don't need all the features. I think I do. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure. I don't know anybody that gets the I don't even know if they actually make the iPhone 13 or the iPhone 12 or even the iPhone 11. I don't know if those phones exist. Once they started making the Pro, I feel like They made prototypes of the smaller phones, but I've never actually seen them in play.
You'll be seeing those at Metro PCS.
Right. Those are the prepaid ones. Yeah.
Cricket Wireless.
Yeah. That's what they're going to start calling it. The iPhone phone card. You're like, what? You can get the iPhone Pro Max. Ooh. Or the iPhone prepaid.
It comes with green bubbles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. And they'll do that too. You can only get the blue bubbles if you're on an iPhone Pro Max. They go, the iPhone will just do text messaging. The iPhone Pro will do iMessaging. And you're like, what's the difference? You ever get a green bubble? Yeah, that's not iMessaging. Aw. Better get
let's admit it. A good amount of us would probably cough up an extra $200 just to make sure we stay in the blue territory.
Are you kidding me? Do you know how long I stayed on BlackBerry just going like, well, I'm not really ready to give up BlackBerry Messenger. It's far superior to text messaging. You're like, it is? You're like, yes. As long as I don't have to follow up with how. Yes, I would say it is far superior to texting. I was on BlackBerry to save BlackBerry Messenger. The only reason I got off BlackBerry was, number one, the iPhone came out. But number two, when the iPhone came out, like, it was depressing. You just watched your BlackBerry Messenger friends list deplete because people didn't have them anymore. So you're just sitting there like, you used to have half your phone was on BBM. And now there was like 3 people that still had it. And you're like, I got to get out of here. Club Soda Kenny was the only one left. So...
Probably still is.
Yeah, I know. You're not going to be on BBM anymore? No, man, I got an iPhone. Oh. Yeah, I think that Blue Bubble is the new BBM in the sense that, like, you can't explain it, but I mean, if you get a green bubble on your phone, those conversations are significantly shorter, yes?
I mean, we're all in group chats or have been in group chats where the one person, one guy has a green bubble.
And then when you send a picture to the group chat, like, because there's one green bubble, the resolution is real low. Yeah. I can't.
Last week, we have someone that has a green bubble in my circle. And last week she texted, can you send 2 photos separately? Because then it's going to get super compressed.
Come on. Come on.
For you, then.
Yeah, do we have to scale down for you? This is why there are separate classrooms. You know, well, when you're on the SATs, if you need more time, that's cool. But there's another classroom for that. You know, we can't. There's a whole separate group chat for just green bubbles, 1 photo at a time. That's fine.
I would be fine for Biden to mandate blue bubbles.
I mean, I think it makes more sense than a lot of stuff that gets mandated. Blue bubbles, like, yeah. I feel like there's more day-to-day practical application to get a blue bubble. Although, you know, I don't even want to joke about that because Joy Reid will be on going like, oh, this Sam Roberts, he's got this platform. He's talking about blue bubbles instead of vaccines. Don't say the V word.
You can't like comments. You can't see when it's red. If Biden came out and he was like, look, we've given you guys enough time. You guys are just holding it back. We're going to start mandating blue bubbles. I'd be over it.
Well, they'd make up something. They go like, green bubbles are a security risk. Everybody needs blue bubbles. And it'd be like, yeah, no, we'll all get them. We'll all get them. Have you ever been in a group chat where, like, people will react to the thing, like, but it'll say in text form?
Yes.
Like, it'll send as a text. Hot Dog Hot Dog laughed at your comment. You're like, yeah, right. I don't see it. I don't see a ha-ha on
I don't see the ha-ha.
Doesn't sound like he laughed to me. That's like when somebody like looks at you. It feels the same way when you get, instead of getting a ha-ha icon on your text, when you get a Hot Dog laughed at what you wrote. It feels the same as when you make a joke and somebody just stares at you and goes, that's hilarious. And you're like, well, then, I mean, that's not the reaction to something being hilarious. Just saying that. That's not how that works. With that
emoji, you feel it.
You feel it.
You feel the laughter radiating.
You feel it.
You know it's real.
Yeah. I try to get myself pumped up, especially once I did the pre-order and everything. I was like, maybe there's some YouTube videos I can watch. You know, when you buy new technology and like before it arrives, you start watching YouTube videos to be like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to have. This is what I'm going to get. Because
I do that after. Even make myself feel better.
Like once you have it, you're like, see, I knew this was a smart purchase. Yeah. like you're just sitting there looking at your depleted bank account and this piece of technology that you do not have any practical application for. You're like, no, I'm sure there's some. Let me look up some YouTube videos. I'm sure there's something here.
Fine.
Yeah.
Some selectively good news. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't get the iPhone 12 ever. I just skipped a whole generation of iPhones. I just have had the 11 this whole time. And while at no point in the entire last year of not having the current iPhone did I ever, it's like the only time I've literally never, at no point did I feel any need whatsoever to get an iPhone 12. Not only that, I wouldn't know why I would need that. Like, I don't see people and think to myself, oh, that iPhone is newer than the one that I have. I haven't seen what people can do that makes me think, oh, I need to upgrade. Like, literally nothing.
Sam, you're talking about the 12 and the 11.
Yeah.
You see this? This sucker still has a button on it.
Is that a button? Does the button click or is it?
That's a click button, right?
Oh
there.
my God. That's
an oldie.
embarrassing. Like, I don't know
That's
why.
retro, baby.
You can't even trade that in for real money.
I could probably get a good $50 for it.
Bro, I got $1,000 trade-in value on my phone.
My thing is still kicking. You know what? I got burned. And remember, I don't know if you remember when I bought the iPhone 7. I immediately
I remember when you bought
the iPhone 8.
I remember when you bought your cousin a phone.
Yes, around the same time.
That's right. You had just bought an iPhone 7, and then you immediately upgraded to the 8. And I was like, bro, there's no difference between the 7 and the 8.
Yeah, and that was the same time the X. It was the same time that the X came out, the 10.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. That's right. That was that weird thing that Apple did where they just skipped generations. So the iPhone 7 was out for a year, but you didn't get it until like 2 weeks before they were announcing new iPhones. So already I was like, bro, don't get an iPhone. They're going to announce new ones, and you're like, no, I better get one. And then that's right. Yeah, they announced. They didn't do an iPhone 9 at all. They announced the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10 at the same time. And you were like, let me jump on this 8 right now. And I was like,
and you and Travis were making fun of me the entire time.
Because you literally bought a phone when it was brand new. Like the day it came out, it was already outdated.
Yeah.
Like it's never happened in the history of iPhones where you bought a phone and they put out the next generation already.
I got burnt, so maybe that's why I've been a little bit scared about making the leap.
And so you still have stuck with that same iPhone 8.
Yep, trying to make sure I got like some good use out of this sucker.
You haven't seen like the 3 cameras or the bigger screens or the no buttons and thought to yourself like, ooh, this is.
I've seen them.
Yeah,
and I've used them before because people wanted me to take photos of them. And it's embarrassing because I have to go like, I don't know. There's no button here.
I can't get it.
I still don't know. I still don't know how to unlock an iPhone without a button.
I feel way better now because I was sitting there going like, I don't see any discernible difference between the 11 and the 13. Like I got it because it was like, it had been 2 years. I was already paid off on my phone. And they were like, if you could get a new phone for $1,000 off. So at the end of the day, it's going to be like $300 that you pay over the course of, I think 3 years is the monthly thing or whatever.
That's what I saw. 36 months.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, $300. Like, yeah, let me just get this new phone and I get it when it comes out and at least be ahead of the whatever curve or whatever. But I don't think, I think it's going to be one of those things where I get this 13, like I got the blue one and I tweeted about it. It was a joke, but it was true. I got the blue one just because it's the new color. So I mean, I wanted there to be something about this that was somewhat new.
Something exclusive.
Yeah, because otherwise I don't see any difference. I really feel like I'm going to get this phone. All my apps are going to load up, everything, because they do it. It's all in the cloud. It zaps right to your phone. And I'm not going to know the difference between the old phone that I had. Like, I don't think I'll have that feeling of like, oh, cool, I got this new phone. Let me mess with it. It's going to be like, oh, yeah, Tetris is still on it. Cool.
You know what's the worst? When someone legitimately asks you, hey, is that the 11 or the 12? And you got to go, no, the 13.
Yeah. It's definitely the 13. They're like, okay, I got the 8. I'm like, all right, well, whatever then. You wouldn't know. In case you don't know, I can shoot video in ProRes. They're like pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. You can shoot on ProRes on the new iPhone.
RAW. Yeah, will you?
I mean, I literally am shooting in 1080p right now. And this is like a show. Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I shot the whole Peacock show in 1080. I don't know, but I could. I'm saying. I can. Yeah. I can. And I seen on the video in cinematic mode, you can change the depth perception even after you've already shot the video. See? So
kind of sounds like a gimmick. That sounds like just a filter they probably throw on top.
You should have heard the way they were talking about it. They were like, this is really revolutionary in filmmaking. And I'm like, filmmaking? Like, you're trying filmmaking? You're not this isn't. It wasn't like a B&H, like a NYU cinema class, Spike Lee. Here's what I do. It's literally like we're trying to sell 1 billion phones to everybody in the country and across the world. And I know that you're all filmmakers. So, but people will look at that and go like, actually, I was thinking about starting filmmaking. Everybody thinks they're going to be able to shoot commercials on their phones. Have you ever, even when they started doing that, remember like they make the big billboards in New York City, and they'd be like, somebody took this photo on an iPhone. And I'm like, really? I've never in my life taken a photo with a phone that made me think like, oh, I can make a billboard out of this. Ever. Like,
and there's a bunch of bullshit on top of it too.
I put it in full screen on the back, and it looks all like blown out and everything. And I'm like, how'd you get a billboard out of it?
Well, for those filmmakers, now you got your phone.
Got
your phone.
I'm gonna make a film.
Just strictly on the iPhone.
Yeah, strictly on the iPhone. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a script. But yeah, is there a thing on the iPhone that makes you write a good script?
You could maybe team up with E-Rock. I know he has a script ready.
He's got mad scripts. He's got scripts on scripts. That's right. Maybe I'll hire him to write, and I'll be like, I've got cinema mode, and I got 512 gigs on my phone, so we could shoot in ProRes.
And check it out, bro. It's blue.
And it's, just in case there's any confusion, it's blue. He's like, so what's that, the 12? No! No, it's not the 12. They don't do this color blue. They don't have it for the 12. No.
Oh, I'll have you know.
Yeah, it's so it'll be here in a week though.
Nice.
And I'll have the iPhone 13
by the mail.
I will. I'll show you all. I'll come on here, and then I'll get a case for it, so you won't even see that it's blue anyway.
And then people won't know whether you shot it on the iPhone 13 or whether I took the photo. And
oh yeah, it'll be impossible to know. What's that?
Yeah.
What's that, portrait mode? And I'm like, maybe. I will tell you. I mean, it's crazy how good the quality on even like the FaceTime. Like I did a video of myself for an interview that I'm going to be posting on Monday, and used the FaceTime camera on the phone so I could see myself on the screen. It is crazy that it actually is a good video camera, but it's also like, I don't think upgrading to this new one will make me go like, oh, this is what I'll say. It's more crisp. It's a little more crisp if you look at it. The colors pop a little more. It's a little crisper. It's like when you go, when you're in Best Buy and you're looking at the TVs, and your dad is like, this one looks a little crisper. This one, I think this one's a little, and you're like, yeah, no, that's definitely the one to get. Yeah, oh yeah, you got it. You got the eye for it.
Yeah, the one that they boosted up the saturation to 100.
Yeah. Wow, look at the way that red pops. Yeah, bleed through your screen. Oh, speaking of movies, and by the way, I see the super chats coming in. I will get to the super chats, I promise. Sal says, Sammy Francesa, is that a Pepsi on your desk? I swear, it's diet. I swear. If anybody asks. Speaking of movies, Hot Dog, have we seen Malignant? The new, I guess it's not the new. They put out another, HBO Max just put out the Clint, I wish it was the Clint Howard movie. The Clint Eastwood movie. I haven't watched that one yet, but I saw Malignant. This thing is only on HBO Max until the 10th of October, which is weird. You'd think it'd be all the way there through Halloween, but no, only till the 10th of October. And this is one of those movies. Yeah, I would think so. But this is one of those movies where I was very attracted to it for 3 reasons. Number 1, horror movie. You know, I love my horror movies. Number 2, James Wan. He's just a beast. I mean, James Wan is a god of the game. And number 3, I got no spoilers, and I'm not going to spoil it. This is one. Usually when I talk about movies, I just throw the spoilers out there. Let's go. But this one, no spoilers, because I liked it, and I want other people to get to experience it. But I did read going in, people either loved it or hated it. Like more than usual. There was not a lot of in the middle. I was just getting people going, I loved this thing, or this was so stupid, I absolutely hated it. And that, I mean, already, just the fact that I'm going to be able to react like that gets me fired up, you know. Like I know whether I love this or I hate this, the fact that it will make me feel is a good thing. That's all I'm really looking for, Hot Dog. I just want to be able to. I want to be able to feel again. I want to feel something. I want to either. I want to either feel elated, you know, like when Big E wins the WWE Championship. You know, you get all happy and you're like, wrestling's the greatest thing ever. Or I want to feel sad. Like when Goldberg wins the WWE Championship. You know, I want to, and the fact that...
Don't put that evil on it.
I know, I don't want to even bring it up. And the fact that this movie I knew was going to make me feel one way or the other, I knew I had to make time for it, and I did. Did you get to see it?
No, but do we got a movie review coming up?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was going to talk about it here. I don't know that I'm going to make a separate... review for it, because again, I don't want to do spoilers for this one, maybe in a couple weeks or something, but this movie, I will tell you, is not, it's not the trailer, it's not what it's like in the trailer at all. Like the trailer makes it look kind of like Insidious, like it makes it look like a James Wan movie, but you basically think it's just like another James Wan haunted house Insidious movie. But it's not that. So James Wan, I don't know if you know, Hot Dog, but James Wan, he started out with a little franchise called Saw. I mean, talk about revolutionary and somebody that a studio is going to love, because you can give them $10 and they'll make you $100 million. Saw was James.
Just give him an iPhone.
I mean, you could do that on an iPhone. Did you know? You should have. I'll sit there with Carrie Elwes, chain him up into a bathroom, and go, don't worry. I'll change the depth of field later. I got the iPhone.
We'll fix that in post.
Yeah, don't even worry about that. Oh, no, I'm shooting ProRes. I'm going to crop it all out later. You're not even looking at what you're shooting. Oh, yeah, ProRes and Cine mode. The phone does it for you. Just saw your goddamn ankle off, will you? But yeah, so like, you know, he does Saw. He comes up with the first one and then is attached to the franchise from here on. You know, he's directed some of them, but produced all of them. Insidious, that whole series. Did you see the Insidious series, Hot Dog?
I saw 2 of them. The first 2. I don't think I've seen.
That's probably about right. I don't know. You can skip the third one, but yeah, you see Insidious. You see Insidious 2. You got it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then after he had already, for the studio, created the Saw franchise and the Insidious franchise, it is a trilogy. You know what other cinematic universe he went ahead and created?
What?
The Conjuring.
Wow,
he went ahead and did The Conjuring.
Just bangers.
Bangers. Just a guy who's printing money for the studio. Then they're like, okay, big deal. You can make us all the money in the world in the horror genre. He's like, okay, well, how about Fast and the Furious 7? Can I do that one? They're like, yeah, let's see what you got. Fast and the Furious 7? Millions of dollars. And then they're like, okay, fine. Action movies you could do too. But can you do superhero movies? He does Aquaman. But Jason Momoa Aquaman he did. It just rains money everywhere that he goes. He has made so much money for Hollywood. They should be kissing his feet. And I watched this movie, Malignant. And it felt like he had cashed in his chips in a good way. Not like he was like, okay, I'm done. Here's some bullshit. It felt like he was like, okay, you know how I did all those for you? And they're like, yeah, we really appreciate you doing that. And he's like, I'd like to do one for me now.
I like those.
Yeah, they're the best. They're the best. He's like, this isn't for the test markets. This isn't for what demographic are you targeting with this one? Oh, mainly me. I'm the demographic. Bitch, I am the demographic.
Let's rewatch that and see if I like it.
Yeah. They're like, okay, and release date where you think I just whenever I feel like it, I guess it just feels like he was like, I got this crazy weird ass movie in my head and I want it to exist. And I love movies like that. That's why I love so many of these weird, like insanely obscure Frank Stallone type B movies, because you sit there watching them and you're going, this shouldn't exist. This couldn't have made money. Nobody would have co-signed this. Nobody forced the filmmaker into doing this. In fact, the filmmaker was probably encouraged not to do it. It's very difficult to make a film. But the filmmaker felt so strongly that this needs to exist in this form that he willed it or she willed it into being. I love stuff like that. I love when you can just tell this person made the movie that they wanted to make. They didn't make the movie that necessarily followed the trend. I mean, you could say like, well, what about the jump scares? Well, what about the camera angles? Well, what about... That's all James Wan's stuff. Like a lot of the stuff that you would see in some of these movies that seems derivative, it's because people copy James Wan all the time. But basically... So that's why I loved it, right? That's why I loved it, because it seemed like it... Number one, I loved the twist. I loved where it went. I will tell you, it took a good hour and change before I was 100% sold on it. At least the first hour of the movie, I thought to myself...
First half.
Yeah. I was like... A lot of times I watch a movie and I know, especially if it's one of those things where I know people either love this thing or hate this thing, I turn it on and I know pretty quickly if I love it or I hate it. This one, I mean, it was a full hour plus in when I was like, I still could hate this movie. Like, I don't hate this movie right now, but I don't know where I'm going to land, which is odd. And then the moment that you kind of figure out what's going on and everything gets revealed, that I think is the moment and it's so great. And I could tell when it's happening that half the audience is going to be like, holy shit, this is the greatest. And the other half is going to be like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And that's the beauty of it. Like, it's a ridiculous, absurd, violent genre horror movie. I wouldn't want to have a conversation with somebody that had seen it and was asking me to explain the plot holes in it. Because it's like, shut up. You don't get it. Like, shut up. You know, hey, why would this happen? It wouldn't, but it's fun. Like, that's why. No, that could never happen, but it's fun. You know, it's one of those movies.
Don't have Jim watch it then.
Oh, I would never have Jim watch this movie. Never. Although Jim got scared during like the third Annabelle movie, which I sat there going like, I mean, like the third Annabelle movie was one of those where I was like, okay, everybody involved is just here for the cash. Like you're just watching the movie going, every single person associated with this film showed up for work. There is nobody is here because it's a passion project.
Just literally clocking in and clocking out.
Absolutely. You can smell the punch cards as you're watching this thing. They're like, oh, this cow hasn't been milked all the way. Let's keep milking. You know, you go like, and especially when you're thinking about a cinematic universe and you go, what did this add or take away from the universe? And it's like nothing. The cinematic universe would have remained unchanged if this movie didn't even exist. And you're like, oh, So they were just like, there's some free money over here. Let's pick this up.
Let's grab it.
But no, I fully believe that James Wan in his heart wanted to tell this story, which makes it even cooler for me. Like, it basically, you can clearly tell the Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 of this movie. Because Act 1, you think it's going in a certain direction. Act 2, you think it's going in another direction. And then Act 3, you find out what the actual direction is, and you're like, that's fucking awesome. Like, it's not, because, you know, and I think the reason why during the beginning I wasn't sold on it was because it felt like, oh, is this just going to be another, like, James Wan ghost movie? Like, is this just Insidious Part 4, but we're calling it something else? And you're like, no, it's really, really, really not.
All right, well, I'm definitely going to have to check that sucker out.
You should. You should watch it tonight. It's fun. And I would encourage people to watch it, too, before it gets spoiled. Because it's fun to go on the journey. It's still fine. You know, I'm not super uptight when it comes to spoilers. I think people take all that stuff too seriously in movies and TV and everything. Like,
it's the journey, not the destination. You know?
Yeah.
Tell me how it ends, and
if
I'll still be like, all right, well,
if the show is good, the show is good. Like, if a show or a movie is good, you can watch it twice anyway. So it's, you know, if you're just there for the twist, maybe the movie's not that good. It's like when you get a chicken parm and it is totally covered in sauce and cheese, just the most sauce and cheese you ever had in your life. You know why? Chicken's probably not all that great. Right? They want to disguise it.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's just make them forget there's even chicken in this bitch.
Exactly. They're like, our restaurant is great. Look how much sauce we put on everything. You're like, well, you can put as much ragu on it as you want. I know what's going on. I know what you're doing. And that's how I feel sometimes about these spoilers. Like, if a spoiler really ruins it, like, it sucks when you don't get that moment. Like, Sixth Sense is a cool movie. But I get, like, if you knew going in, I went to see Sixth Sense in the theater, and it wasn't spoiled for me. But my buddy, I went with two buddies. One of them had seen it before, the other had not. And my buddy that had not seen it before, 5 minutes into the movie, like right after the Donnie Wahlberg scene, whispers to my friend who had seen it. I just see him. And then he whispers back to me, hey, I just figured it out. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, great. And I swear to God, I'm watching this movie. He didn't spoil it. But every 10 minutes, he's like, did you figure it out yet? I'm like, no, man. He's like, seriously? I'm like, no, I'm not even, it's not how I watch. I'm not thinking about it. All right, it just seems super obvious.
He just keeps going like, oh, there it is. There it is again.
Yeah, like, you know,
cluing you in.
Yeah, like the moments that he's asking you, did you figure it out yet? You're like, oh, was that a clue? Because I think I wouldn't have figured it out, but you told me.
Did you get what he said right there?
Yeah, no, okay. Remember that for later. Like, okay. All right. Well, now I know what's gonna happen. So yeah, I don't want to say too much more about it because this is actually one that I don't want to spoil, but I would check it out. You know, I felt like the world kind of turned upside down. Did you look when Nicki Minaj shows up? Oh yeah, shout outs to Robert Durst. We were talking about Fred Durst a couple weeks ago. His dad, Robert Durst. I'm just kidding. Robert Durst is not his dad. You remember Robert Durst. This is breaking news. This happened just this evening. Robert Durst, the guy who was accused of murder. And yeah, an accused murderer. Guess what? As of today, without worrying about getting sued, we can announce he's a murderer. He is indeed a murderer. Yes, he's a murderer. It's confirmed. Officially a murderer. Robert Durst. So Robert Durst, and you forget too, like, he was the star of the HBO docuseries The Jinx, which I might have to go back and watch again. And he's the one that gave, that sort of in-depth interview that lasted over 4 episodes. I mean, it's a docuseries, but ultimately it was really about the interview, right? And this is the one where it's like, when you do an interview, you always have a goal in mind. Even when I do my wrestling interviews, like you want, I'm not so, there's some people, I think it's kind of scummy, but like there's some people that are really going for that sound bite. I'm sure where you work, they emphasize the sound bite. You really want to get that sound bite, right?
We look at the transcripts. We pick out what sounds nice.
Yes.
Cut that sucker out.
Yes. And it's like, I'm sure that somebody who worked for a publication, if they go out there and there's no sound bites to be had, it's like, the fuck are you doing going out there and just having a casual conversation? Trying to get some sound bites
on company time?
No. Yeah. You go to dinner if you want casual conversations. I want to find out who the new bachelor is. Did they kiss? Sound bites are always so stupid, too. It's like, I can't say, but I will say we had good chemistry. Oh, that's a good soundbite. Cut that.
Good.
Yeah, clip that. But you do always have like a goal. What these guys got out of Robert Durst was so far above and beyond what you would even have the audacity to ask for. I can't imagine how they must have felt when they realized what they had. Robert Durst is the guy who does this interview with them. And basically the story with him is that he's this super rich businessman, comes from a wealthy family, just money. And in 1982, his wife goes missing. And nobody ever hears from her ever again. And he's like, I don't know anything about that. I don't know where she went. But it was very suspicious, right? 20 years later, this was 20 years ago. It's like every 20 years something happens in this guy's life. 20 years later, so this is 1982, I think, that the wife disappeared. In 2001 or so, one of his very close friends apparently is going to go to the authorities because she's got some kind of information. Right before she can go to the authorities, she's actually unable to make it there because there's a bullet hole in her. So she's dead, And they don't know who did this. Now, Robert Durst had previously been found not guilty of murder, even though it was confirmed that he shot his neighbor and chopped up his body and threw it in a river. The jury found that, yes, while he did shoot his neighbor and chop up his body and throw it in a river, what I read, the story was that they went into court and they said, look, this old man lives next door. He's a very crotchety old man. He's hot-tempered. He came over and he pulled Robert Durst's gun out. He pulled Robert's gun out of Robert's hiding place. Robert tried to, and threatened him with it. Robert Durst tried to take the gun away. In the scuffle, the gun went off. A bullet came out of the gun, went through the gentleman's head, and then Robert Durst panicked and cut up his body and threw it in a river, piece by piece. And the jury was like, well, that's not guilty. And so they found him not guilty. And so,
if you get into a little scuffle, Sam, and that happens to go down, you call the cops or
chop up the body, throw it in a river. You get nervous. It's like that. It's like that guy who's now also missing. The van life, poor girl from YouTube and Instagram that disappeared at the end of August, and then 2 weeks later, her boyfriend came home with the van that they were both in, but she was no longer in the van at all. He just came home and then wouldn't talk to anybody about it. And then his lawyer was like, okay, I'm going to talk to him. Today we find out from his lawyer has no idea where the guy is either now. The guy is now also missing. Has been missing for 2 or 3 days.
Maybe something happened to him.
Oh, I would hate it. Yeah, something happened to him. He bought a new pair of running shoes. That's what happened to him. So they're doing this interview with Robert Durst about what happened because he was never charged with the murder. He was never charged with anything to do with his wife, and he was never charged with anything to do with his wife's friend who got killed before she could apparently give information about what might have happened to Robert Durst's wife.
Tragedy.
Probably accidents, all accidents. And so whatever, they're doing this interview. It's over the course of 4 weeks or whatever it was. And then in the last episode, this is the show where notoriously Robert Durst went into the bathroom and his mic was still on. And there's no camera footage of it, obviously. But they let the audio play on HBO. And you can hear him. He zips up his pants. He looks in the mirror. And he goes, well, of course I killed them. I killed them all. And you're like, did he just confess in the bathroom? And the answer was, yeah, to an extent, I suppose he did. So they were like, okay, well, we're definitely going to arrest you for that. And so they arrested him, brought him to court. He must have felt good because his court case was actually delayed 14 months because of COVID. So, they started the court case, and then they stopped it, and he just got to chill for 14 months. So he's probably just like, well, they're probably going to forget to even bring me back to court. But then they didn't forget.
The world's ending.
Yeah, well, he was probably hoping that the pandemic just lasted forever, that this was the end times. He's probably, I guarantee you, Robert Durst was not wearing a mask. He wanted to die on a ventilator more than anybody. Way better than the alternative. Because he went back to court, and as of today, the jury they found him guilty of murder. They found him guilty, not of the wife, of the friend. So, but he's a very old man. I mean, I showed you the picture. He's a very old man, so I can't imagine that he'll...
You got a murder rep at that age.
You're done.
That's about it.
You're done. I mean, they said the same thing about Cosby, though, and he didn't even do the time that he said he was going to do. So, I mean...
Innocent.
I don't think that's what they found. I don't think actually he was innocent. I think...
That's not what the judge said?
No, I think it was the judge said, this is a technicality, but it's really, you're not innocent. I think it's what the judge was getting at. Yeah. But yeah, Robert Durst, he'll probably try to appeal something or other, but I'm assuming now his lawyers are going like, no, it's pretty cut and dry. You're going to jail. His sentencing isn't until October 18th, so I guess the judge is going to sit there and think about it for 4 weeks or so and figure out how much time the old codger should get. But yes, Robert Durst from the Jinx is actually going to jail for the murder that he appeared to confess to in the bathroom.
It's always the cover-up that gets you.
Yeah. Isn't that ironic?
He could have gone away with one murder.
Although she probably would have ratted him out. She must have known something.
Yeah, well.
The old trigger finger came out.
I would have loved to have been in that editing room when they first heard that piece of audio.
Oh, God. I mean, and most people probably wouldn't have heard it. Because you have to wonder, right? Because part of it, too, was they were criticized when that doc came out. Because they were like, if you knew he confessed to murder, why did you wait all this time and wait for the show to air before telling us? You definitely should have told us that he confessed to murder as soon as you found out. And the guy was like, no, bro, we just found it 3 days before the show aired. We just found it. I was like, yeah? And they were like, yeah, we were
about to delete it.
We just found it. And it's like, is that what people do? Right before a show airs, do they go back and watch the raw footage?
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I mean, I've made a TV show before, and I know that I've had multiple episodes where it's on Peacock, by the way. You just search Not Sam on Peacock. You can find, I did it with Hot Dog. We made a TV show.
That's
15
right.
episodes. And you remember, you would put the episode together, and there were many episodes where we would go through multiple versions, right? I'd hit you back with notes, more edits, hit you back with more notes, more edits. But generally speaking, I would watch the episodes, but not the raw footage that we had already deleted from the episodes.
We've already decided we don't want that.
Yeah.
What else are we looking for?
Yeah, when we did the Undertaker and Kane interview, we went through the interview a few times. But the audio of the Undertaker and me talking about suburban real estate that we recorded before the interview, I didn't re-listen to that. At no point I said that's not part of the show. That's just a thing that happens. So I can
especially something that's just an audio track with no video.
Yeah, he's in the shitter. Like, hey, you listen to that shitter audio again?
Just make sure there's nothing we're missing there.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only way it makes sense to me is that somebody heard it as it happened. Like the sound tech.
Right, yes.
Heard it and told like the director or his supervisor, like, holy shit, I think he just said something. You should listen to this audio right away. And then he waited until all the episodes had aired. And then right before the finale aired, he was like, oh, remember when the shitter sound tech guy told me I should re-listen to that? Maybe I should go do that real quick. What the fuck? Did he just? Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, he did. And yeah, it held up because I remember when it came out too, they were like, no, that was out of context. He didn't really confess to it. And then the jury was like, well, whether he confessed to it or not for real, he definitely did it because we're sending him to jail. So I'm assuming whatever he gets, it'll be the rest of his life, right? You'd have to assume. He's an old man.
Bye.
How many more years can he get? Yeah. 20 years. He did this thing 20 years. I'll bet if he had never done the HBO show, none of this would have happened. Like, there wouldn't have been enough.
I would have cared.
Yeah, there wouldn't have been enough interest to reopen the case. And even if the tape from HBO is not actually the smoking gun, it's definitely enough to get interest back up.
Right. Yeah. I would figure like some detective or something isn't going to open this case that's decades old if there wasn't some attention.
Yeah. Mental note. If I ever get away with murder, don't do an HBO show about it.
Wow.
That, by the way, is rest in peace to Norm Macdonald. Did you ever see Dirty Work?
Is that a special?
No, it's a movie. Norm Macdonald. It's his movie, though. It's Norm's movie. Norm and Artie, where they basically play pranksters for hire. It's the greatest thing ever. And Norm walks around with a tape recorder, just going, mental note. Just recording stuff the whole time. It's great, though. It's just one of the many incredible Norm Macdonald things to watch. So that's what you should do, Hot Dog. Now you got some homework this weekend. Malignant and Dirty Work. Both of them.
Gotcha.
Get a scare, get a laugh. It'll be fantastic. Speaking of a scare and a laugh, I would say this classifies as both. Before we get to these super chats, I did not realize when I read this tweet that it would literally take up an entire week's worth of news. That this would take. I thought this would be in the cycle for a day. This was the news item all week long. Nicki Minaj, and I quote, "My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend has weeks away from getting married. Now the girl called off the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decisions, not bullied."
Sound advice from a medical expert.
I mean, the fact that that ridiculous tweet has been analyzed and taken apart and orchestrated and used for political means and everything it's been for says so much about where we're at in general as a country. The fact that Joy Reid has to go on MSNBC every night of the week and talk about the responsibility that Nicki Minaj has, that she's got a platform, 22 million Twitter followers or whatever, and that it's irresponsible for her to tweet this out. Look, I don't care how many Twitter followers you have. If you tweet out that there is some risk with the vaccine that your testicles might get enlarged, and your followers are like, look, I know what the doctors are saying, but I read this on Nicki Minaj's Twitter. I blame it on the followers 10 times out of 10 times. If you come to me and you tell me, I get that we should all get vaccinated so we don't give a bunch of kids COVID, but I heard on Nicki Minaj's Twitter that it might enlarge my testicles and make me impotent. I go, number one, I'm pretty sure her cousin's friend is just trying to cover getting gonorrhea from somebody he wasn't supposed to be with. But number two, I'm not calling up Nicki Minaj and going, hey, Nicki, you should really think before you speak. I'm talking directly to you as an adult and saying, the fuck is wrong with you? That you would
Now,
go ahead.
Do you think there's some argument to be made for the fact that, yes, individual responsibility, but also people are really, really stupid? And you go like, okay, maybe it should be on you. And in the perfect world, yes, it's on you to understand that this is Nicki Minaj. But also, Nicki, can you like not?
No, here's what I think. I think that if you are being purposefully and directly manipulative of an audience, that's a different story. If you know that your audience is listening to you in a certain way and you can imply something and they will act on it in a way that is irresponsible, and you're doing and you are knowingly doing it, and we know when people are doing that. That I think is wrong, and that I think is something that you go like, that's fucked up. But when you're sitting there talking about your friend's cousin's swollen testicles, there's no way that any adult should take that seriously. And if we shouldn't be allowed to have social media if we can't trust people to read that and not think it's real, like to just laugh at it. Like, you should be able to post that, have a laugh, and keep moving with your life. If we have to sit there and go like, no, you can't post that, because yes, some people will have a laugh at it, but others will think, well, now I'm not going to get the vaccine because I don't want to get swollen balls. Like, I mean, you cannot dumb everything down for people who think that their balls might get swollen. You can't.
What are her fans called? Are they like Barbs?
The Barbs.
Or something like that?
Don't disrespect the Barbs. They're the Barbs.
Did you not see them posted up in front of the CDC headquarters protesting?
Okay, I saw like 15 people. Yeah, I did. I saw them there today, out in Atlanta, in front of the CDC, literally saying we trust Nicki Minaj more than we trust Dr. Fauci. Yeah, I did see that. But again, I am not going to change the way I talk because of the 15 people that are going to go to the CDC headquarters and protest Dr. Fauci and say Nicki Minaj should be in charge of medicine in the United States. Like, you can't. You can't. You have to. You can't take on that amount of responsibility, because then nobody can ever say anything at all. You know? Although it is like equally, when you got Tucker Carlson, who is like, I mean, I can't even believe that people watch Tucker Carlson going like, I mean, but like, I can't believe that people watch that like Joy Reid stuff and don't think to themselves like, Joy Reid is just trying to find any excuse she can to talk about how dangerous everything is. At the same time, how anybody can look at Tucker Carlson this week out of the blue. Tucker Carlson is all of a sudden a Nicki Minaj and a Jim Brewer fan. Like, he's like,
oh yeah.
He's like, these are my people. like, I don't believe any of it. It's insane.
With the same face he has every show.
Yeah.
Just confused, kind of.
Yeah. And he's sitting there, and I saw a thing that Tucker said. He was like, Nicki, they're not mad at you because you said about the swollen testicles. They're mad at you because you said people should pray on it and not to get bullied. And then, all his religious people watching that are going, man, Tucker's right. They don't like that we pray. And it's like, what? We're all obsessed with the testicles part, not the praying part. Like, the testicles. This is about the testicles.
Swollen testicles and the impotence.
That's what it's about. But like, Tucker's going like, see, I tried to tell you. And now the media is creating a frenzy. And like, I'm sitting there going like, well, yeah, I mean, some in the media are the platform argument is ridiculous. But for the most part, I think people are just pointing out what a ridiculous tweet this is, right? I mean, that's the general, and it is, and you should be doing that. I mean, what? What's the argument here? Even if that tweet comes out and you figure out a way that it makes your argument stronger, you still shouldn't use it because it's a tweet about vaccines making testicles big. What are you talking about?
Maybe try to back it up a little bit with some,
or
some record of this guy or something like that.
Well, Tucker did say on his show that he would like to interview Nicki Minaj's Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend. He said, Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend or fiance. If you guys are watching in Trinidad right now, we'd love to have you on the show. And it's like, yeah, you would, wouldn't you? I bet you would love to have him on the show. Somehow that is a news guest. Yes. He's a newsmaker.
The guy cheated on his wife and was just trying to make up whatever bullshit excuse.
I know, and then he
needed to get out of.
You got the health minister of Trinidad going on TV and going like, yeah, that is insane. That does not happen.
That's bullshit.
That's total horse shit. And the guy's sitting at home now. He's got to deal with his fiance. He's like, I told you it was horseshit. The health minister just said it. And he's like, oh, watch Tucker. Nope. He's just sending her Tucker Carlson DVDs. Watch Tucker.
Fake news.
Yeah, you got to see this Tucker. It's a conspiracy. Balls are so big. Yeah, and then there was, Nicki was like, I won't be at the Met Gala because I'm not getting vaccinated for the Met Gala. And I was like, number one, the Met Gala isn't actually a good reason to get vaccinated. People should get vaccinated because they don't want to get COVID, not because they want to go to the Met Gala. Like, while, Nicki, like, making her statement, I was, like, rolling my eyes at the same time, if somebody said I wasn't going to get vaccinated, but I did so I could go to the Met Gala, I would be equally rolling my eyes. Like, what are we talking about here? What is this conversation even about anymore?
That girl was doubling down all week. She's not backing down from swollen balls.
Well, I do like that Nicki Minaj is, like, going to war with any news people that are against her and any news people that are on her side. She's like, yep. Like, she's tweeting like Tucker Carlson. She was like, bullseye, buddy. You nailed it. And Joy Reid she was like, fuck Joy Reid. And I was like, I understand that. I feel like that was when, like, Kevin Pollak was talking shit about me. It was like, well, he's way more famous than me. So if I could create a war out of this, win or lose, I'm gonna be on the upside of this. I'm gonna take this as far as humanly possible. So I think Nicki is like, yeah, if I could stay in the news cycle, I'll just stay in the news cycle. Whoever's against me, fuck you. Whoever's on my side, finally some truth. Like,
she said she got invited to go to the White House.
Yeah, but then the White House said no, she did not. I saw it. The White House was like, she did not get invited to go in the White House. But they did say that they said you could have a call with the White House's people to explain, like, and even that, the White House should not be involved in Nicki Minaj's testicle tweets. I mean, it makes no sense. But no, they said she did not get invited to the White House. Nicki also said she got kicked off Twitter. But she's on Twitter, and Twitter said, I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
What?
She might have just forgot her password. I don't know, because I still seen her tweets.
See? They got me. Trying to cancel me.
So, yeah. God bless everybody,
Good news week.
It's a great news week. It's a lot of fun. You know the rules here on Sam Roberts Now. Every super chat gets read. If you've been watching along, I hope by now that you've already smashed that like button. If you haven't, take the opportunity now to do so as we go through some of these super chats. If there's anything you've been saying in the chat, I've been seeing some of them as we go. Vax the slacks. I'm not 100% sure what that means. Definitely go ahead and super chat it in. I'll read every super chat that comes in. Stooge420 simply says this: whoop whoop. And I agree with him 100%. Because there ain't no juggalos here. Only juggalos. You're a juggalo, right, Hot Dog?
Am I?
Yes. I think so. Cool. Mike B, Hot Dog, a.k.a. Mary Jean's new stepbrother. She's definitely boning your brother, yes?
She's there now. She's watching now. Are you boning my brother?
I think so. I think you're going to get a sister-in-law. And I think it's going to be one of those hot porno things where she comes to the States and you're like, but you're technically my sister. And she's like, only by marriage. And then you guys bone. Maybe.
No, that'd be pretty cool. I'm not against that.
Not Sam Lehman. Hot Dog thought he was experiencing vaccine side effects, but his swelling because he can't use his private parts on anyone. Yeah,
I should have blamed that on the Johnson & Johnson.
And then he says, oh, and happy Latinx Heritage Month, Hot Dog. I hope you get to celebrate by watching your brother pound out Mary Jean.
It's Latin, Hispanic Heritage Month.
Latinx. Are you Latinx? Latinx.
Don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Hispanic.
Dana Quigley. Brian Laundrie is missing since Tuesday now. In the missing person case of Gabby Petito. Your quick take, Sam. Yeah, that's what we did actually talk about that. That's what Brian is the guy that went home. I think I mean, I watched that cop footage that they showed. We talked about it a little bit on the SiriusXM show with Jim. I think old Brian Laundrie is on the run. I think he's panicking. I think he drove all the way back from California to Florida knowing what had happened and thinking it would just go away, and it's not going away. And I think he's on the run. I think. Sal. Oh, my God. Sal says, what's worse, first or second ponytail on Tommy Dreamer?
You got two.
I know. I find it offensive. Dana Quigley. Sammy, did AJ Galante give you any dirt off the air that's juicy? Where the bodies are buried, for instance. A lot of that stuff people have to remember is allegedly. And, I think he made that pretty clear throughout the interview, allegedly.
You should have been like, hey, man, you want to use the restroom for a bit? And make sure he had a mic on.
Yeah. Can you take this with you? If you've missed that, by the way, we talked a couple weeks ago about the Danbury Trashers documentary, Untold Crime and Punishment, that's on Netflix. It's fantastic. You got to watch it. Check out our review on that either here or at youtube.com/SamRobertsNow, which is our clip channel. If you've missed shows, you can go back and just look at clips over there. But last week, AJ Galante, when he was 17, he was the president of the Danbury Trashers. And now that he's a big grown man adult, he was here in the Notsam studio last week. So if you haven't watched that interview, check that out as well, because AJ is a highly entertaining individual.
Mary Jean says, I'm not fucking your brother, LOL, no porno.
At the moment or ever?
Ever or at the moment, Mary Jane?
Because she said, tell us. She said, I'm not fucking your brother, but it's like, of course not right now. You're watching the show. Right. Have you? If you had to guess, Hot Dog, has she?
That's a guess?
Yes.
I mean, I'll take her for her word.
She didn't say if she has or hasn't. She said she isn't now, today.
I'm going to need some clarification on that, yeah.
Do you think probably yes, she has?
It's a possibility. I mean, everything's possible.
But everything's possible.
Everything's possible.
Everything's possible. The Bobby Hall, BlackBerry is yesterday and iPhone is now. That's right. Sal, I did yours. Mr. Pants, I love how Apple changed the word promotion to promotion. Classic Tim Cook.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Promotion. Yeah, everything Tim Cook was saying in that thing was like, this is the best we've ever done. You're like, that feels very non-specific. Dana Quigley, I'm a UPS driver, and here's a tip. Make sure you sign the Apple phone release form and tape it to your door so we can release it. Oh, meaning that because maybe you have to sign for the package?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're talking about, Dana, but if I find a form, I'll fill it out just for you. Bobby Hall, I wish that Patrice was still around to comment on movies. I mean, that seems real trivial. But
fuck everything else.
Here's the good news, Patrice. We can bring you back to life. Here's the bad news. You may only talk about movies. Like you can
and then we'll put you in the freezer after that.
Yeah, you can see every movie and you can give all your opinions on movies. But you don't have the ability to say anything else. Like, Patrice, how are you? I just saw Suicide Squad. Oh, really? You got anything else going on? I mean, I thought it was good, actually. I thought they did pretty well with it. Oh, okay. I guess we're gonna talk about this movie now. I didn't realize.
Can I see my family? No.
Yeah, you can't see your family. You'll be too busy seeing all the movies. That's all you can talk about. By the way, Bobby Hall says, you were a legend back then. Cy P, AJ Jocktober, etc. I'm still a legend, bro. You know, I'm always a legend. I'm forever a legend. Big J21, King Kong ain't got sheet on me. Shoe program, tuss. Right. Beef stick, PP sandwich, balls, brown starfish, stink pie, yum. Not Sam Miguel. I'm not reading it. It's $1.99. I'm not doing that. I was born at night, but not last night, not Sam Miguel. I don't think so. You could take that bad karma and you could take it and stick it right where the sun don't shine. PTE, this is not a super chat. He said, the lady said, you look weird and better with hair.
What lady?
I'm assuming your old lady. And if her level of taste is that she preferred Sam with hair to bald Sam, then you must be hideous. Because no offense. I'm just basing this on her comment. You must be absolutely terrifying to look at. Oh, all right, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also, subscribe to youtube.com/SamRobertsNow. That's our clip channel. And, of course, youtube.com/Notsam Wrestling. If you're into wrestling, that's where all the interviews from the Notsam Wrestling Podcast go. The same day that they come out in the audio podcast. The Danhausen interview came out this week on Monday. This coming Monday, we have yet another interview with a pretty big WWE superstar. So check that out. Ha-ha. Check that out. Appreciate you all. Don't forget. Oh, Gil Rodriguez says, great show today, Sammy. Hot dog. I appreciate you. And the other thing, you know how you can tell I appreciate you? Because I'm going to cheers with you later. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.